The Robertson County Funeral Home has been serving families for a quarter century. When it's time to celebrate and remember, to honor in loving memory, the Robertson County Funeral Home.
About 70 people attended Ridgetop's weekly meeting Tuesday evening, all concerned about one thing: keeping the city's police force intact. City leaders recently made the decision to move the police force to part-time. Following that decision, the idea of completely eliminating the force had been mentioned in the city's workshop the night before, even though it was not on the agenda. Citizens concerned about even the possibility that city leaders might eliminate the police force altogether came out to express their opinions. At times, things did heat up, and at one point there was some mild language between a citizen and one city leader, as well as a disagreement between two citizens, which resulted with them being separated by police. Though the language was moderate, we will recommend viewer discretion for younger viewers. The meeting was a culmination from recent accusations from the city's own police chief that Ridgetop city leaders were setting illegal ticket quotas for their police agency. There was an investigation, but no charges were filed against city officials. For more information on those allegations, simply scroll down if you're viewing the story on our main website. Otherwise, go to smokybarn.com. And now, we will run the video in its entirety.
I'm Neil Hancock, 5632 Greer Road. The people of Ridgetop need and deserve a full-time police department. I know that you're thinking about going part-time. I don't think that's the right thing to do. I personally think this is retribution for the ticket scandal that was exposed. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Ma'am.
Hi, my name is Price Jones. I've lived in Ridgetop for 20 years at 2375 Highland Avenue. During these 20 years, I've enjoyed the privilege and safety of having a full-time police department. It's hard for me to comprehend a mayor and his aldermen getting elected, taking their oaths to serve the citizens of a community, and then promptly disbanding the police department. We are a small community with 2 parks, a huge fire department arsenal, a helicopter pad, a city hall, 2 utility buildings with plans for another larger utility building, including a car impound lot in the works on Highland Avenue. That doesn't seem to fit the explanation that our budget can no longer afford a police department. I'm fairly certain we are all of us are well aware of the circumstances that are behind this new motion. I call on you as a citizen of Ridgetop, Mayor Tony Reesner and your aldermen, gentlemen, to do what's best for our community. I get that it won't be easy, and there are real tensions between city officials and the police department. But I call on you to work it out. Do the right thing. If you do in fact disband the Ridgetop Police Department, I personally believe you will be putting the city at risk for lawsuits, not only from unjustly fired employees, but possibly even class action lawsuits from citizens whose safety and security will now be more at risk due to your unnecessary actions. If you recall, the city paid out close to $1 million almost 20 years ago, right after I moved here, for somewhat similar city official behavior. And when police response time goes from 2 to 5 minutes to 20 or 30 minutes, possibly more, it could become the difference between life and death. And this will be on you. I beg you to reconsider. Work out your differences. No matter how hard it is, do the job you were elected to do. Be remembered as city officials who made Ridgetop a better community. Please don't do this for Ridgetop.
My name is Rachel Calvin. I live at 5730 Greer Road.
just wanted to kind of touch on some of the things that she said. I think what everyone in this room wants when we leave today is to have a board that serves the city of Ridgetop and its citizens' wants and needs. All we want is to be able to live here happily and safely. That's all everybody here wants. I don't think there's anyone here who would disagree with that. The thing I love about Ridgetop is that we are still a small town. You know, you go down the road, you don't even see a McDonald's here. The thing about small towns is that we can build a really great sense of community and togetherness. And with everything that's been going on, that's dissolved. I just wish that we could all work together at the end of this to have something that suits everybody and keeps everybody safe and happy. And nobody's going to be safe if the police department is gone. A lot of things can happen, like you said, a lot of things can happen in half an hour. A lot. Not too long ago, I was about to leave for work and I thought there was somebody in the house. Thankfully there wasn't. But I was alone in the house, no one else was there. A police officer from the first stop was there within 5 minutes. If somebody had been there, and it took half an hour to get there could have been a lot that happened to me. A lot can happen in 30 minutes. I just want you to keep in mind that your duty is to serve the citizens of Ridgetop, not to serve your own interests. So please, put aside everything that's been going on, all the pettiness, all the arguments. Just think about what the right thing is to do, and I think you know in your heart what the right thing is. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Brent Martin. Thank you to all of you. You make me proud. You don't. I should be proud to live in the city of Ridgetop. And while I am smart enough not to believe everything I hear in the media, if even 10% of it is true, you should be ashamed. This is retribution, this is juvenile, and it's infantile to try to go against because you were caught breaking the law. That's indefensible behavior for an elected leader. So my belief is we need audited financials from this city to see where the money's going. If the city could exist and pay its bills before the ticket quota infamous scam, then why can't the city pay its bills without this small thing? So what do we have to do, Mr. Attorney, Mr. Whatever, for us to get posted for the citizens to view, audit the financials of this city where we can see where every dollar goes? And should you not act in the right way, which I hope that you will, I would like to also know what is the process to recall, to have a recall vote against city officials who continue to act in an inappropriate way.
Jim Thomas, I live at, what was your address?
521 Strudwick.
Jim Thomas, I live at 2544 Barwood Drive. I've been there since 1993. I followed city government, come to new meetings. For a number of years, I wrote newsletters and told people what was going on in these city meetings. And in these letters, I was careful to report facts, and also, if it was my opinion, I made it clear it was my opinion. I was much aligned for doing this by McCall Johnson, Tony Reesner, and Mark Johnson. And there's been a long history of this kind of abuse in this town, and this is just another episode. I attended the workshop meeting last night, and it was very apparent that all the discussion about cutting the budget was cut the police budget. Well, if the city has a financial crisis, why is it all laid on the police? What about the fire department? I see a fire truck over there that doesn't belong to the city, and it's taking up space. And when I was on this board, I served 4 years on this board. I served 6 years on the zoning board. It was reported that that space over there is worth money. And we didn't want to have the county ambulance in there because that space is worth money. But yet there sits a fire truck that doesn't belong to the city. So I feel like after seeing the workshop last night that it looked more like a vendetta against the police for what he did. And I want to say this about what he did. He took an oath and he swore to uphold the law. And it was said by Mark Johnson last night that two people's reputation was ruined. He was referring to you, Alderman Johnson and Mayor Reesner. Well, he didn't smear your reputation. The police chief didn't force you to break the law. When you broke the law, he swore to uphold the law, and he enforced it. He called you out on it. Now, he could have taken the easy way out and said, well, these guys signed my paycheck. I'm not going to prosecute or say anything about it. But he was brave enough to call you out on it. And then undoubtedly, as you've done to me and others I've seen on this board, you harassed him for it. So no wonder he turned to the news media. And as far as him turning to the news media, some of you turned to the news media and had lies written about me. So I'm not surprised that he would turn to the news media. Sometimes it's the only resort. And I think what's going on here is deplorable, and we need to remember that there's 3 aldermen here. They're up for election in 2020, and it's not that hard to get on the ballot and get these guys out. So, thank you.
Hey, Jim, just add one question. What year was you on the board?
06 to 2010.
Great. Thank you. Believe.
I'm Jeff Calton. I live at 5730 Greer Road. Alderman Johnson, last night during the meeting y'all had.
I got a question.
This is what,
What's
hang
the
up.
POS?
Huh?
What's the POS? They were talking about, the conversation was, I don't remember,
Wait a
the
minute.
board responded to anything. What is POS?
What is POS?
Yeah, what is a POS?
Do you honestly want me to say that right here?
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
You said right there.
What is?
Piece of shit. You.
All right, just-
You asked, that's you. Anyway, last night you mentioned that you was raised here and you wanted to uphold, you love the city, correct? It's a legitimate question, yes or no?
Been there all my life.
Okay, great. Why do you love the city? Why do you love such a small town?
It's home.
One of the reasons that small towns is respect. If y'all vote this to put the police department out because y'all got caught doing what y'all done, y'all are showing younger citizens, such as the little fella sitting back here, and I think I heard another one back there, that it's okay for them, when they grow up, to break the law and basically piss on the police department whenever they get caught.
Well, for starters, it's written that we did not break any law.
No, the DA said. The law was broken. There was no.
Is this a comment?
Yes, it is a comment.
Mr. Director, tell us.
Well, that's, right now, he's the one that directed to me. The law, the DA said the law was broken, there was no, what was it? No punishment. No punishment. So they did say that y'all broke the law.
Absolutely.
Okay? Y'all got caught, so y'all were the one that said here.
I wasn't trying to hide anything. As I told you before, the conversation we had at that workshop, I'd had this conversation right here in front of this whole group. That it was a board decision. I didn't create anything. Ticket revenues. What was the DA's concluding, what did he conclude at the end?
Do what?
What did the DA conclude at the end?
That there was no,
Personal gain, it was done for the
no,
benefit
y'all
of the
broke the law.
citizens.
They broke the law.
Let the man talk.
Okay, here's the thing. Right here's the puppet master of this whole place. Right here. Let's just say it.
We got a city question.
Well, here we go. The thing is, when y'all do this, y'all are showing these young kids that it's okay to do this. That's not right. The police department should be here for our safety as well as y'all's. If y'all have any respect for anybody here as well as y'all's and y'all's family, y'all will do this because y'all will let the police stay here because of the safety of y'all as well as y'all's family and ours. Because ours does mean something as well as y'all's. That's all I have to say.
Hey, before you leave,
Joe.
I don't need to.
you're a bump of shit.
Hey,
What was what I said? You heard what I said. Why don't you stand up and say it? Why don't you stand up and say it?
Take Samar out. He needs to go out. Get Samar out. He's a troublemaker. Get him out.
We're not gonna remove anybody unless we have to.
What's that? Sorry, just real quick.
19, where do we live? Where do we live? 5190? You guys, I just looked here like a year ago. They changed this. I'm very confused. 5190 Greer Road. Right there.
What's your name?
John Burke.
John Burke.
Sorry. We live right on the rear, so cars, the police cars are going there all night. We hear it. It wakes us up, right? It's a very good sound, though. It wakes you up and tells you that you're safe. There's somebody looking out for you. Somebody looking out for my baby girl. That's a nice sound. I want that noise to wake me up. Okay. Secondly, was that the police that just came and saved this man?
He didn't say.
Those guys just did a real good job. I'm sure everybody here appreciates them. I sure appreciate them. I'm sure you guys appreciate them. Same as the nice girl said earlier, we all just want to be safe. And it's pretty, I don't know all the crap that's going on, all the things everybody's saying. It's a little silly, but policemen, man, come on. That's a little silly. So, that's all. I'm sorry to interrupt. I didn't mean to get in front of you. Don't be silly.
Okay. Payne Chevrolet in Springfield. 9 decades, 3 generations, 1 tradition.
I got what I asked for at Payne Chevrolet.
Dale Gilmore, 1824 Old Springfield Highway. And I'd just like to say that I am here in support of our police department. I feel that we need a full-time police department for our own safety, security, and our best interest. And it seems like we're looking at a piece of property to buy for our sewer system. Property in Robertson County is very expensive. We seemingly can come up with some money for this. I don't know, and I didn't have time to research it, but I just got home from work this afternoon, so I didn't have time to research it. But it's been 20, 25 years since we've had a property tax increase in this city. And I would be more than happy to pay a few extra dollars in taxes to keep our police department.
Yeah.
I only own one piece of property in town, and it's known that some of the members on the board here own several pieces, and it would be a lot more so costly for y'all to pay the property taxes. But still in all, if we all pay a few more dollars in property taxes, we could solve this issue, and I for one am ready and glad to do it.
What year was you on board, David?
It's around 2000, I don't remember exactly what year it was, and I was on the board, and we did not raise taxes while I was there. And again, it's been 20 or 25 years. I think J.T. Hunstuff may have been the last one to raise taxes, and I'm not even sure on that.
No, it was after that.
Was it after that?
It was 2 years after he left.
Okay. But it's been long enough again that we could consider a tax hike to help with our city budget if necessary. And I'd be more than happy to do my share. Thank you.
My name is Matthew Bolton. I live at 1004 Ash Drive. I've been at Ridgetop since 2015. I don't use social media. We don't have cable at our house. So I've heard absolutely none about the accusations that are being thrown around here. Know nothing of it. I actually didn't know this meeting was going on until 15 minutes before it started, and I'm actually dressed like this because I was cutting my grass. And my wife came to see me and said, you might want to get up there. And just, again, I know nothing about these accusations. What I do know is that in every town, every city you go in, the people that sit in your positions, the people that choose to work in their positions are all servants of the community. And ideally, everybody wants what is best for the community. I know that I absolutely love living here because when I take my kids to Watauga in the morning, if anybody is out of line, if anybody's speeding, I know who's going to get them. I don't have to worry about it. When we walk to school over here, when we have gatherings at the park, whatever it is, we know we're safe. Our crime rate is incredibly low. When I'm fortunately get to be home on Saturday morning, if I'm out there at 6 a.m. washing my truck, there's an officer that walks by, waves at me, will stop if I need to talk to him. when there's somebody parked in a strange lot in our community, and I call the police department, 3 minutes they're there. We are safe. It's been said again, I'm just reiterating what everybody else has said. You know, I'm a registered Republican. Talking about a tax hike is not something you're typically going to hear come out of my mouth. But for the purpose of getting to keep our police department, I think it's safe to say at a bare minimum, with all of the concerns, with the obvious thoughts of the community that are here, it's at least too great of a decision to be made right now. I think at a minimum there needs to be more conversation. We need to have more community meetings. I think we need to see whatever we can do. I mean, if it is really important that we make this decision, the community needs to understand why. We need to be brought in on the conversation. And forgive me that I haven't been here before now. You may have had the conversation. But I think at a minimum more conversation needs to be had before a decision like this is made. And I hope ultimately, yes, even if my taxes have to go up, then we get to keep the guys here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kim Dutzek. I live at 1012 Nightingale Acres. I own 3 properties here in Ridgetop. We've been here since 2009. I also would not mind if there was a tax increase. I've lived in Northern California, Las Vegas, Nevada, and a small town in New York. I've never needed the police at any of those places I've lived. But unfortunately, I've needed the police here, and they've been there for me a couple of times, and they've even helped me rescue a stray dog at the park. And I just say that the community really needs them. I feel safer here. I think it really adds to our community, and having the small town and the crime is not as rampant as, say, Springfield. And I'd like to keep it that way. I've got investments here, and I want our property values to keep high, to go up higher than they are. And having a police department in our little town is a really good thing. And I beg you to work out your differences and do the right thing and work together. And if you have to find the money somewhere else, please look for it somewhere else. But we really do need our small police department. Thank you.
I hate to ask, what was your last name? I couldn't write it.
Dutzek, D-U-T-Z-E-K.
My name's Lynn Miller. I live at 5499 Greer Road. And why do y'all feel that we're not needed 24-hour protection by the police department? Can you answer?
Yeah.
Who said that?
Can anybody answer?
And nobody said that. And we don't need 24-hour protection.
If we go part-time or we go all together out, we don't have no protection.
If you went part-time, you still could.
Can you define nepotism?
Yes.
You're in charge. You said you made them follow the charter. I asked you outside, right? Can you tell them what it means?
Is this a question, a legal question for me?
No, it's not a legal question, sir. You said that you made them follow the charter.
You're asking me whether or not there's a violation of the charter by virtue of Mr. McCall Johnson and his brother Mark being on this board?
Yes, sir.
It's not a violation of your charter.
Would you like to see it in the charter?
Sure.
Would you like to read it out to everybody? Would you like to read that to the whole crowd?
It says wife, husband, son, daughter, daughter-in-law, mother, mother-in-law, father, father, brother-in-law, sister, aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, step-parent, or stepchild may not work in the same department. Work in the same department.
Is that not what we're doing here?
These are elected officials.
That's not, no. It says they can't work together in the same department.
It's elected board.
I'm sorry, but that's what it says.
That may be your opinion, but it's not mine.
That's not your opinion.
All right,
I mean, y'all are the board. Why do y'all know the Bible of the charter? You know what it says. I mean, you know.
I think what you were reading from is the personnel manual, and what that would apply to, if you would read it and understand it.
Personal rules and regulations.
If two individuals were working within the same department.
This is a department. This is the board.
It's not a department under the city charter. No, it is not.
How's that not a department?
We're not here to debate the law, but it's just not, and you can certainly get any other legal opinion, but it's not a department as established by the city.
Don't it,
The police department would be a department. The fire department would be a department. The alderman is not a.
well, they're on the same fire department together. Does that not count?
Fire department.
It's hired individuals. As employed individuals or volunteers?
You just stretch it around however you want to say it, don't you? However you believe it.
I'm reading it as it is.
I'm reading it too.
Reasonably interpreted by a reasonable person.
Well, I just feel like y'all know that it's wrong, and you need to step down. You need to step down, and if the rest of y'all don't want to go back, all of you need to step down.
I feel like we go back. I think if that come up, nobody brought it up 2 years ago, and me and my son sit on this board.
I didn't come in here and find out.
I
didn't have this piece of paper.
Before that, the only other ones I know of before that was Dave Wiley was an officer here, and his wife sat on the board.
That was an officer, and somebody sitting on the board. It wasn't two officers together.
Still, but she had to make known that, and we both know that she was married to him.
This is a board, though. I still feel like it's wrong doing what you're doing. Somebody needs.
Russell said if you want your legal opinion, you have to get somebody to bring forth to tell us.
No problem.
I would suggest maybe you call the election commission.
Or the comptroller board.
I'm not so sure that's their jurisdiction, but.
Election commission.
The election commission probably could assist you in your question.
Okay, because you can't do it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Denise Hospodka, and I live at 508 Maplewood Drive, and I'm here to represent my family. I kind of like Mr. Bolton. I'm not really aware of everything that's going on, so I kind of have a biased opinion, but being here and having my 4-year-old son, I see that there's a lot of disgruntle on both sides. The great thing about Ridgetop is it's a small community. Everybody knows everybody. But then when that's said, that's where some of this frustration is coming in from all sides. I'm coming from a peaceful point. The officials, I don't really know everyone, but the city hall, I've had great experiences with the ladies there. I've had great experiences with the fire department and ambulance company. My son had a seizure back in November, and I love knowing that if I call the police department at 12 o'clock at night, I know that someone is going to come. My husband works all around Nashville. He travels all around. He has multiple tools that he takes in and out. So I'm by myself a lot with my 2 boys. I love that I can send my little son out on the front porch, and I know that he's going to be safe because I know that there's an officer that drives by. Every morning he comes by, and I feel safe because I know that there's someone always patrolling. Going on the speed issue, yes, we all have speed signs, and yes, there's certain traps that our police officers sit at, but I'm thankful for that because the fact that they are still ticketing so many people are not following the rules, even though they still know it. There is an issue with speeding, even in our little community. It's 30 miles an hour, our kids are on the street. Yes, we don't necessarily allow them on the street, but we're walking and the ball runs out, and we appreciate it, and we like them, and we want more of that. So I do ask to please don't take the police department away. I come from a family, my parents run EMS. Hand in hand, they protect the EMS. They protect going into, if there's a domestic abuse at night, if there's something going on, they are right there helping them. I don't know the logistics of what you guys are trying to cut, but I do ask for my family, my 2 little boys, and myself being a stay-at-home mom, please don't take them away. Please keep them, and let's figure out some other peaceful way we can work it and switch the funds to making everyone happy. Thank you.
Can we open it up again?
Yes, we ain't closed nothing else.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to reopen new business. Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't know,
Let me see what.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Karen Mann from, I live in Gracie Ann, 3015. I've been here about 20 years. Owned a small business here. I know the majority of you guys on board. I know some of the volunteer from the fire department. Know some of the police officers. I appreciate everybody. But I think that it's time to let our egos go. It's time to quit throwing mud at each other, quit slinging mud. I think it's time to, I was reading where it says incorporated in 1935. Well, do we want to fall apart in 2019? Because that's what's happening to our city. And I think it's time for you guys to act like grown folks on both sides. So please consider our small town. Consider us as citizens. Consider us as a vote. I've had to call on the fire department because I thought I was having a heart attack. I've had to call on the police department because a man was at the end of my driveway trying to lure me to his vehicle at 11 o'clock at night. I think both should be treated equally as one another. Do you know what I'm saying, Tony? Mm-hmm. I think everything should be equal in this town. And it might be my opinion, but it isn't. And thank you for listening to me, and I hope you guys, and I've even prayed that you guys will have a heart for your city and for the citizens that live here.
We skipped, I didn't hear wrote down, back to new business. It had to do with a comptroller. Actually, Ms. Ryder is over that paperwork, and she has to answer for it. Anybody comes looking, that's who they go through to get it to her. So that's why we want, and I might not word this right, but we want to be sure that during this investigation that comptroller is doing, that she will be absolved from it, because she has not signed, which I hadn't either, give anybody permission to be upstairs looking at that type of paperwork. And I'll take a motion. I'll make them, if you need to add to it.
No, is that the motion?
Yes, sir.
I second the motion.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Johnson, second.
No. You can't do a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion. I'll make the motion to absolve Ms. Ryder from any responsibility for the paperwork and remote storage until the point that the comptroller's office releases it back to the city, barring any other issues.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Carried.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, sir. Name is David Wiley, 409 Hazel Drive, here in Ridgetop. I need some help. Tom and Ryan, Eric, Bill. Y'all stand up a minute. Step out here where people can see. I can't see you back there, Bill. You're not.
Please address this.
I will. I wanted him to stand up so everybody could see. They're human beings, just like all of y'all. Each one of them would take a bullet right now for any of y'all, just like I would, or for anybody in this room. Just like you will run into a burning house for anybody in this room, any of the firemen. It's a separate breed. We're all here to work together for the benefit of the city. Now, I started here in 2004. When I walked in the door, I was told that there was animosity between the fire department and the police department. For the next 14 years, I worked hard to eliminate that, because we all live here in Ridgetop and love the city. You know, we got to get along together. I've been just as bad as anybody. I've been so unhappy I don't know what to do, because I don't think things are going right. But these guys not had raises. You're talking about making them part-time, and I understand Mr. Johnson was talking about doing away with the police department altogether. So you're affecting their families, which is going to affect all the families in this room, in this community. Now, if you can go to sleep at night knowing that you put somebody's child, or their wife, or their mother in danger for no apparent reason at all, then you do what you got to do. But I'm going to tell you right now, this police department has given its all for everybody in this room. All of you. We've done things for everybody. Just like the fire department has done things for everybody. Just like Keith does things. Kelly does things in the office for everybody. We all got to get along together. There's some things we can fight amongst ourselves. Just like the police department, we fight, argue, and don't agree all the time. Just like on the fire department, got to do the same thing. But in the end, the final story is we're going to be together. We need to look out for each other, of fire and police and the citizens. So whatever decision that y'all come to tonight, I hope you think just for a second who it all affects and involves. All of us. Everybody in this town is a citizen. Everybody rents a house in this town. Everybody runs a business. This police department does a fine job. Hadn't always. I'll tell you right off the get-go. When I started in 2004, it was pretty shabby. But it all worked out. We got different leadership. We started doing things and working to be professional. That's what we got to do, to be professional. You know, we got one of the best volunteer fire departments in Tennessee, second to none. And that's because of organizations and looking after things, taking care of business, looking after the people. Every lovely little chili suppers and pancake suppers and everything that brings everybody in. Everybody gets to sit down and talk to each other and let everybody know what's going on. So I'm asking everybody involved, take a second and think about who all it's affecting.
Throw one thing in there.
What?
That's nothing on the agenda about a vote tonight for police department.
Well, that was my understanding. I apologize. That's what I was told.
I didn't know where that was coming from.
No, I was told that there was going to be a vote tonight on whether to have a police department. That was my misunderstanding. It was my own fault, I guess. But I just want to make sure everybody thinks about it. We've all done something for each other somewhere along the way. You know, we've helped each other somewhere along the way. We've forgotten all of that. We forgot who we are and what we're about. This is Ridgetop, Tennessee. We are the lady from California loves us. Everybody here loves us that lives here. But we've got to think about it. That's all I have. Okay? Sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi there. My name is Caitlin Wiley. I'm Mr. Wiley's daughter. I live at 409 Kingsville Drive. I'm a biochemistry student at Lipscomb University, interested in being a physician and biomedical ethicist. It doesn't take a biomedical ethicist to understand that this is a very unethical situation. I have approximately 400 hours in emergency service employment, and you have one of the finest police departments here. Last time I worked in Cookville Regional Hospital, and I saw the Cookville Police Department and Putnam County Sheriff's Department, and they do not compare. I've also had the opportunity to travel to Honduras, being one of the most fifth dangerous countries in the world, and one of the poorest parts, Western Honduras, Santa Rosa de Capan, where police are paid to bring justice I think it's incredible that we have the opportunity to have a wonderful police department from taxpayers. I hope that you can reconsider your position and find efficacy. Whether you're voting or not, it's obnoxious and absurd. And Mr. Russell, you're a lawyer. I take particular interest in that, and I want to know what your position is with the city of Ridgetop, since you can't answer legal questions for us.
Well, I'm employed by the city to represent the city of Ridgetop.
So why can't you answer legal questions of citizens of Ridgetop?
I can.
But why do you choose not to if that's your job?
Well, first of all, I'm not employed to give personal service, legal services to individual citizens.
Understandably, but they're asking about their city, of which you are employed for.
Correct.
I don't understand.
Do you have a question?
Yes, that is my question, why you cannot give legal advice.
Well,
as a lawyer, I would think that you
I'm
can interpret
directed
that.
by this board to provide a legal opinion for which someone from the citizenry would like, then I will provide it. But if an individual citizen comes to me and wants me to represent them or give them legal advice,
But they
then I'm
never asked you
representing
to
that
represent
individual.
them. We never came to you and personally asked. I never asked for your help to represent myself as a citizen. That would be different if I was maybe getting a divorce or something, but I'm not. I'm asking you to.
Do you have someone you would like to recommend to this board to hire as the legal counsel?
I don't, but I can find one.
Okay, do that.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Can I ask a question from here so I don't have to pick my son again? Is that okay? Okay, just real fast, and this might be a hot topic, and I apologize, I don't mean it to be offensive, but I was also informed that this meeting was for a decision on voting for the police department to be on or off. So I'm not quite sure who officially makes that call, and as a citizen, I'm here to represent my family to make the count. So if it's not tonight, is there another night that's going to be coming for us to make that official count, to represent our household and our family?
I'm gonna say that would be me.
Okay.
Because I look at everything on the agenda.
Okay.
Now, I don't bring everything to the agenda, of course, I hope. That's why everybody else is up here. But that was discussed at the workshop last night.
Okay.
And that's what workshops are for.
Okay.
And
So
whoever was sitting here took that upon themselves to say that. Whoever told you that there was gonna be a vote tonight, I had no clue.
Okay, is there going to be in the future? Well,
It's got to be. It's either got to be raise taxes, which a lot of people now, and actually this is the first night in 3 meetings that citizens, last time it was an officer that's already left us, said, want to raise taxes. Now it was, I'm going to say 3, it might have been more than that, says it's okay to raise taxes. Now, at the certain, I think it's 220% if you kept it at the same status, at the police department, the same status that we're at this past year, that's what your taxes would go up.
So why don't you tell us that? Why isn't that in the media and the press? Say, citizens, this is what we need to do.
I'll tell you one reason why, because I think it was 10 weeks ago that we was up here in a workshop and we got hit on the ticket citations. And everybody that's been, we have a former mayor in here, a former alderman person, since '04, that budget has been up there because of tickets. And we went through it, that's what Tommy Thompson's already told us. That wasn't no private, no increase for me. But we used that same budget all the way through to now. And when that got shut off, there's no other department in the city that can take a hit to like fire department. We get a $56,000 grant from Rouse County. That employs one person for us. The rest of that goes to fire equipment, has to. The city, and don't quote me, even though we went over last night, I want to say it was $26,000 that we get funded from the city budget. So we can't take a big hit. Parks, they're wanting playground equipment, fix up the Wilson House, they can't take a big hit. Sewer, and somebody had a question about us buying a piece of property on Greer Road. Sewer and gas have to stay to themselves. You can't, like we can take sewer, I'm gonna say, money, revenue, and buy that piece of property. But we cannot take sewer money and throw it in the fire department.
Yeah, Daryl Benton, 2148 Winters Avenue. Ridgetop and a Greenbrier address. I served about 25 years on this board, almost 26, 4 terms as mayor. There's one thing you guys haven't brought up. Since about 2014, when Chief White was first appointed here, we started getting LESO equipment from the government. A whole lot of equipment. We got $500,000 at minimum sitting up there at the park right now that the police department can sell. All that money goes to the police department budget, not the general fund. Nobody's brought any of that up. All I ask you to do, let them do their job, let them keep buying it. It brings money into the city, benefits them. There's no shortage of budget at all. There's at least $500 million sitting up there. So all I'm asking you to do is keep the police force on. Don't need to get rid of them. Nobody here wants it. And that's all I got to say.
Thanks, sir. We're going to close. I do have to correct on that last statement. You cannot use LESO money in a budgetary item, period. You can't do it for salaries. You can't buy, I'm going to say, computers continuous years. Anything that's on that budget, you cannot use it for that.
Where's the money go?
It sits in our account.
That's what I'm saying.
But you cannot use it in your
The
fund.
police department can use the money from the sale of equipment.
Okay, they have bought, I'm gonna say that e-ticket was the last thing. Brian or Dave, you tell me what, before, cars?
We bought cars, we
Yes.
bought e-tickets, we bought tasers, we bought
Body
body
cameras.
cameras for $20,000. There's a lot of things we bought.
That you cannot do every year.
Right,
It's not-
if it's a budgeted item every year, you can't use LESO money for it.
So not correct.
Right, but there's a lot of things we can take out of the budget.
As far as LESO.
Right, like we've cut cars out, we've cut computers, or actually came out last year, things like that.
I mean, you talked already, we're done. I make motion to close.
Second?
Can I say one more thing, please, before you go?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
My wife was never allowed to vote on my salary anytime she was on the board. As a matter of fact, if she'd been allowed to vote, Jeff White would have never been chief.
Wait a minute, Dave. Hey, Dave.
Hey, we're done.
Hey, yeah, we're done. We're done, man. We're done.
He's always got that last word, right?
They should be the financials on the webpage. Remember, Ridgetop.org webpage.
If you want a beautiful yard, don't go to one of those places that have a plant section. Go to Corbin Creek Greenhouse. Plants are all they do. Corbin Creek Greenhouse has been dealing with plants for generations. Their friendly, knowledgeable staff will answer all of your questions, whether they're simple or highly complex. So when you're ready to take down the neighbors with the best landscaping on the block, you want Corbin Creek Greenhouse. They're located at 4920 Highway 161 in Springfield, 384-3185. Once again, 384-3185.